Hello Stampers, and welcome to the first episode of Cut, Color, and Paste. Everything you ever wanted to know about stamping you learned in kindergarten. I'm Cindy from Cindy's Creations, and that's with the 8 in the middle. That's Cre8tions, and I'm going to be showing you today how to make this little post-it note holder. It's really simple, and it's a really easy project and so satisfying for a first project. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do this today, but I'm going to use a different color scheme. Now the first thing we're going to do, and what we need, is that we need a piece of cardstock that's cut at 3.5 inches by 7 inches, a layering piece of coordinating cardstock, and this is Lost Lagoon. This one is Blackberry Bliss, and that is 3 by 3, and another piece of white cardstock, and this is actually our shimmery white. If you look at it, it's kind of hard to see in this light, but it has a little bit of shimmer to it and is so pretty. And this is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. As you can see, I stamped on the back of it because I made a little bit of a mistake, but when we layer that on the next piece, you're not going to be able to see it because Stampin' Up! Cardstock is so fabulous. So even if you make a mistake, just turn it over to the other side and stamp on it again. Now Stampers, the first thing that I want to show you is how to use our stamping trimmer. Our stamping trimmer is a fabulous addition to your toolbox when you're stamping. It is a cutter and a scoring tool. This black piece right here, the darker gray piece, will cut your paper, and this piece will score your paper. It will hold a 12 by 12 piece of paper, actually all the way up to 14 inches, where you'll be able to cut and score. And I'm going to fold that arm down because we won't be using that today. So today, actually we will be using that today because I want to show you how to go ahead and cut this cardstock. This cardstock comes in 8.5 by 11. We're going to put it on the 8.5 side, lining it up at the 7-inch mark. And we're just going to take our darker piece and slide it through, and it's going to cut our paper with a nice cut on that edge. Pick up your arm here, and now we can go ahead and cut this at the 11-inch side at 3.5 inches, which will allow us to get 3 of these out of 1 piece of cardstock. So I'm just going to set those over to the side, and we'll use that for our project later. And then you're just left with this one last little piece of cardstock that you can use for embellishments or anything else. Just throw that into your scrap pile. So there it goes into my scrap pile. And I'm going to go ahead and put the stamping trimmer back up here because we need to score our piece of paper. So we're going to take this Blackberry Bliss paper, and on the long side, we're going to score it at 3 1/4. And we want to make sure it's that light piece. And then we're going to score it again at 3 3/4. We don't want to make the mistake of cutting our paper. Oh my gosh, I've done that so many times and it just drives you crazy. So always make sure you have your scoring tool. So then on this piece of paper, on those score lines, we're going to flip it over from the side that we scored it on. And we're going to burnish those score lines with our bone folder. Just across that, we're going to push it down, and that just makes our score lines really nice and crisp. So then we're going to, this now opens up, and this is where we're going to be placing in that post-it note. And when we buy the post-it notes, we can buy them in a big pack. I bought this pack, I don't know, for about $5 at Staples, and I can make about 15 of them. And I'm just going to open that up and take off that plastic. And on this sticky side back here, we're going to use some of our Tombow adhesive. Now Tombow is a multi-liquid glue. It has, it sticks and dries off pretty fast, and when it dries, it dries nice and clear. So we just want to get some of this onto the back of our Post-it note. And the nice thing about the Tombow glue is that it gives you a little bit of wriggle room. So if you don't get it nice and straight immediately, you have a little bit of time to kind of move it around. When you go to put this inside, make sure that you have the sticky part to the top. You don't want to put it all the way up to that line because you need to have some room. Make sure it's nice and even. Now I can't see on that very well, but I think that looks pretty even. What about you, Stampers? So we're going to just push that down and make sure that it's nice and firm, and it's going to glue up pretty fast. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our 3x3 piece of coordinating cardstock. And this coordinating cardstock, both of these colors are in our 2014, 2016 in colors. And so these will be around for one more year. And we're going to just use some Snail adhesive on the back of this. Our Snail adhesive is a quick, easy type of adhesive that just rolls on and is sticky. And it just makes things so much easier. We're just going to go ahead and layer that right on the top here, making sure it's nice and even, and just go ahead and push it down. And there we go. We're almost done. So now we're going to take this piece here, and we're going to stamp our sentiment on the bottom of this. And I need to look around because I don't know what happened to my sentiment. Now the stamp set that we're using today is this stamp set right here. This is Crazy About You. And the reason I love this stamp set is because it's got all of these different sentiments, and you can layer them together like the sentiment I'm going to use right now. And it also has these 3 different images that you can use. And if you notice on the bottom of our all of our stamp sets, there's going to be suggested blocks. This is a photopolymer type of stamp set. If you open it up, you can see all of the stamp sets are clear. And that means that they're going to layer onto an acrylic block for you to be able to use them. Here is my sentiment. We're going to be saying thanks so much on this using the Lost Lagoon dye ink. We're going to just tap, tap, tap. The nice thing about Stampin' Up! Stamp pads is they're really juicy and you don't need to really push really hard. Just tap, 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 lining up at the bottom of our 2 3/4 inch paper. Stamp down and stamp up, and beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and close up my stamp pad and set that aside. And now this is all ready to layer onto the front of our paper. So remember I said I made that mistake on the back, but you're not even going to see it when I go to put it onto our paper. So again, with the Snail adhesive, I'm going to layer that on the front of our cardstock, just like that. And now, stampers, we're going to be actually stamping our flower. Now, for our flower, we need 2 Lost Lagoon flowers, and we need 2 of the Blackberry Bliss. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to stamp the Blackberry Bliss. And the reason I want to do that is because this is a photopolymer, and you really need to have a nice piece of cushion underneath. And our foam pads that we use for our piercing foam works really, really well. So we're going to just take that photopolymer and tap, 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 looking through because it's nice and clear. We can always see that our ink is well inked on our image, and we're going to just stamp down, pushing around to make sure that ink transfers and lift up, and a perfect image. Now, one of the things you're going to notice about the photopolymer is that it can stain, but it doesn't affect how the stamp stamps, and as long as we're cleaning it, it works fabulous. And so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the flower medallion pump. This coordinates with this stamp set. It is in the current annual catalog. We're going to take that and we're going to just line it up, lining up that and making sure that it looks perfect and that we've got a nice line around, stamp, and there we go. Simple as pie. So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually layer our flower. And if you look at our flower, it has several different layers. And so all I've done with this is, again, one of the things that we learned in kindergarten is how to cut. So each of these layers, we just went ahead and cut around that with a pair of scissors. Now the scissors I'm using today are our Stampin' Up! Paper snips. And I'm just trimming around that outside. This is called fussy cutting. And we're just going to trim each layer for each color flower. Now for the essence of time, I've gone ahead and I'm going to lay this to the side and I'll finish that up later. And this is one of the things that I love about the paper snips is they snip all the way to the tip. So for the essence of time, I've already gone ahead and cut up our pieces. And you can see how those go ahead and layer on top of each other. I'm going to move this foam pad out of the way so that you can see a little more clear. I'm going to take our flower here, and I'm going to turn these 3 over to the back sides, and I'm going to grab our Stampin' Dimensionals. Our Stampin' Dimensionals are fabulous. They're just the right size, this little hexagon. They're not too thick that they just make it stand up too tall. And I'm just going to go ahead and layer this all on top of that. But before I do that, I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to run it along the edges of my flowers to give my flowers a little bit of dimension. And it just makes them stand up nice and pretty. The other thing you can do is that you can actually cut down along those to make it have a little more dimension, but I did want that to stand up a little bit more. We can do the same thing on this one. It's best to do it before those Stampin' Dimensionals are on, but again, if you make a mistake, just roll with it. There's nothing wrong with it, just like we learned. So now we're going to want to put this down by offsetting it on those petals that are underneath so that it looks that we've got a little bit of offsetting. And then we're going to do the same thing with this next layer. Just take our bone folder and go ahead and ruffle those edges a little bit. Take another Stampin' Dimensional right on the back of that one. Peel off the backing. Peel off the backing. And going ahead and setting that down on top of the next layer of flower. And offsetting that a little bit. And one last layer. And I'm not going to fluff this one. We're just going to go ahead and lay that one down with a Stampin' Dimensional. Just perfect fit on the back of it. That hexagon is fabulous shape. And we're going to just offset that on the top of this flower. So now that we've got our flower in place, we're going to put some Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of it. And on this size of flower, I like to use 3 of them because I like to make sure that it's got a nice base to it. And we're just going to take those backings off and pull in our little Post-it note and go ahead and mount it the way that you like. And that looks so pretty. And the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in a rhinestone. Now on that other sample that we saw, you can see that I used one of our Stampin' Up! Pearls. But today I'm going to go ahead and use one of our rhinestones just so you can see a little bit of a difference. These are so pretty. I love these because they're so much more sparkly than some of the other ones that I can find. Stampin' Ups are just a lot more sparkly. So there you go, Stampers. In two different color families, changing those names for whatever your occasion may be, and it's a sweet, fun little gift to give. Now, you can buy all of these products through StampinUp.com, or you can buy them through any of your local demonstrators. If you don't have a demonstrator already, I would love to earn your business. And you can find my website at cindyscreations.com. And you can also find me at cindyscreation.stampinup.net. That's probably the easiest way to find me. And I would love to send you a catalog. So if you don't already have a demonstrator and you would like one of our annual catalogs, please email me a message and I'd be happy to send that to you, or make a comment on this video and I'd be happy to send you that catalog. So again, that's cindyscreations.com and cindyscreations@stampinup.net. I'll have all of this information along with the supplies and the measurements and everything else for this project in the description below. So please click on the description below to get any of your products. And I hope you have a wonderful day and happy stamping.